Hello everybody, this is Charles Anderson. I'm just a guy from Goodwill, Oklahoma, and I've got a really great video game idea. I'm working on my spring side project, away from my main project of the moment, which is the Tone God Visual Editor, which I will use to make in-game editors for my main game, Idiog. And I've just finished up the ARGB8 function, which will convert icons like, pictures like this, and then I went on ahead and did some magic to. These would be the icons that we're going to swap out on the tree for the DarkMonkey theme, and we're going to give it a shot here. Right now, I've got it set up so that it just passes Nehon's original work on through the processing pipeline down onto the tree. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. And of course, I'm doing this part first to show where these things plug into, more for the benefit of Nehon. Although I will be, Remy, but or it might be Remy, but anyway, I'll just say Nehon. And this is just for him at first, and then I'll go ahead and break into the code with how this stuff plugs in and what all hoops I had to jump through to get here finally. Okay, so this is the one with the original artwork, and that would be this right here. And when applied to the DarkMonkey, no processing, we get what looks like this. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and get a Windows magnifier on it. So as you can see, it's not color keyed or anything. So it's a brighter yellow than the line, and the line is the same color as this gold here. But it's transparent, and where it's transparent, you can see the little bars behind it. So that was stage one. Okay. And there we go. Now let's head over to stage two and do a little processing. And this would be the icon at the same size, but as you can see, I added a couple of layers. So this is to work with the palletized method of SwapARGB8. Now to make it look like the original, but with palletized colors, as you can see, I have certain magic colors in the DarkMonkey look and feel. The DarkMonkey look and feel is based on Nimrod's look and feel, which is based on Metal look and feel. So there's 8 magic colors. Get white, get black, that's 2. Then get control shadow, and get control dark shadow for the let's see, the grays and the dark grays and the darkest grays, and then get control. Let's see, was it get control highlight? No. Get primary control shadow, and get primary control dark shadow for the orange, gold, and brown. So those 8 colors decide this whole the major colors of the color scheme. So that said and that out of the way, let's start applying some of these colors. First, we'll go with how original size. So that would be the C1 set, E1 set. And just to give you a preview, okay, we were there. Now we're moving on to this. This would be original size, but we've got a few options now. And first, we'll nullify the red channel, which I set to get white, which is what the tree view clears out to. And I have get control as like a highlight. So let's null that. All right, and then we just have get white. Get primary control, and I actually, because I haven't gotten my multiplication set across, I've just set get white as the clear color, but then it's transparent so that when it fades in, I can change this color around to show what happens, but that'll be later. Back to the main. Oh, right, close. Stop it. There we go. And roll it again. So this is with one channel, as was described from here, one channel, and I turned it into the blue channel, which is the uppermost channel to be processed, so it's layered on top no matter what. And as you can see, it looks pretty much the same, except now it's matched the colors to here, and you know, if I were to highlight. Oh, right, but I never set those colors. Okay, all right, yeah. So anyway, yeah. Okay, I've got to remember to get both functions because I've got to do them in pairs to show the look. Okay, so let's go with close this. All right, and while I'm at it, okay, yeah, process. We don't want that scary looking. Yeah, because that's what it was just showing straight across. So, oh, and if you'll notice, if you set the color components null, 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 whatever you said is null, but it works with a 4 or more type methodology and then a 3 or less type methodology. If it's 4 or more, then it considers alpha channel. I went on ahead and did the 3 channel setup here and just nulled out the alpha channel for a color set. That way it would just skip the alpha channel by the algorithm that I have. Okay, so derp. To get rid of busyness, oh, I'm all the way down into my, okay. On this first channel, you see where it's coming in red and it becomes more red. We can actually dampen the lines that are going behind there. So what I'll do is I will do the get white and pop it down, yeah, right here. Okay, so this will dampen it, and let's take a look at that. That way it doesn't look so busy behind it. Okay, and when we do a zoom in, okay, yes, I know I'm calling get white, but since this is a dark color scheme, black and white are reversed. So as you can see, we have it to where we have this little fade effect now. Oh, and yeah, I have the other one with the accent, but we have the fade effect. The fade effect is still there, but I also have another layer just in case an accent was wanted to be added. So here it is with the fade effect, and then this one, because the other one gets control shadow, we have like a little outline ready for the graphic. So I will zoom out. Zoom out. Okay, and yeah, these are ordered operations. So alpha gets put down first, then red, then green, then blue, and because they're in that order, it's considered a layered operation of fully formed colors from a color palette. All right, so let's see. If we were want to have like a highlight or something, like see here, I had it set to get control shadow, and if I want to, I can just null this here, and we'll swap spots. Oh, it's control shadow. All right, and this controls, or of course I could set it to white. Either way, I mean, well, I'll just show at the different levels. Why not? So we got get control shadow here, and we'll press play. I did null that other value down there, didn't I? I'm not sure. Anyway, this is after a night of programming, but I'm still pretty fresh in the brain, so yay. Okay. Yeah, I nulled that out, and there we go. Okay, and so if we look up close on it, as you can see, we have a little border, and it's a little bit darker than this because it's set to the shadow of this color. I could make it more pronounced, but this seems to be a nice little enhancement. And then, of course, when expanded, all enhancement is gone, and it just sets it to the background, but with the dampener to keep it from looking too busy. All right, now this is at full size, okay? And then, just in case he was worried that it was too busy, I also made, or busy, the icons were too big. I went on ahead and made a secondary set called C2 and E2, where if you'll notice, it's not quite as big, so you have a little bit more subtlety there. So let's swap it out now and let Nehon, well, Remy see this set going. There we are. Okay. Okay, and now our icons are not as big. And there we go. I think I like this look. This looks pretty good. But of course, I'm gonna let Nehon make the final call on that. But this is with it. This one dark shadow, which is not as bright as this, so it doesn't contrast as badly, and it kind of looks flat-ish. But of course, the dampening kind of makes it stand out a little bit. And there we go. And this is how to. And of course, yeah, they're real small images, but the properties on these are like 512 by 512. But I've got a scaler, got the because it's the shape that we're interested in, and any colors or highlights that need to be solid. Because this is a totally color keyed type setup right here. Of course, I could substitute in a solid color if I wanted to, and completely match this color. But that's just this is. Otherwise, I'd just pump it through like this and go with it like that. But now for the code. So Nehon will make his decision based on that stuff and see what he wants to go with there. If he wants to keep this color as a solid, which is a little bit brighter than the other one, but it will be locked to that color. So if ever we go with the where the users can modify the look and feel dynamically, then. But that's not for the main project. That's not for this. Okay. Right. Swap ARGB function. So because I don't have my math correct yet as far as the multiplying the alphas across, what it suffers from is it suffers from the basic color before a color is set. Because let's just show you some of the algorithm. Okay, basic algorithm first. Okay, first up, we've got an order that it's coming in, and it makes the most sense to have the bottom layer or alpha layer as the shadow, which is kind of like, oh well, I have the pictures up there. No, not that window. That window. But not that window. Okay, don't need that. I need that. So, let's see, where's next try at? So yeah, for an artist, it makes the most sense to have a black background with the alpha mask and black because you're not getting into red, green, or blue. But the important part is to have the alpha where it can show up. So this is the one where I talked earlier about with considerations for got to make sure to do a composite. That way you can see the rest of your stuff. So on a 3-channel, it's simpler. You just can't access as many colors. All right, and what it does is it just skips this whole thing. So for 3-color, first off, I don't assume anything except for that if all 4 colors or more are coming in, then it's going to be in the order alpha, red, green, and blue. Alpha, red, green, and blue. So this is the actual order of passes that are done. Okay? And even though that when I get my float values, it's actually 0, 1, 2, and then alpha. So red, green, blue, alpha. When it's packed, it's alpha, red, green, blue. So that's what I went with. All right. So I decide to say, okay, if a color's not defined, this is my null, okay, which is basically zeros across the board, but black no alpha. And there we go. So what's that? Okay, color set null. So that's working in colors. And the weird thing about color is that you could get back an RGB value or you could get back an RGBA value. It depends on how it was set. It's strange. Like this may or may not have an alpha value of 1. Just saying. I think this should have an alpha value of 0, so that's why I put the bits set to 0 there. So it seems to work. But again, like I said, I'm having a problem with the multiplication, so I've got to kind of see where my problem is on that. But I've got a decent workaround, so I'm rolling with the algorithm for now. Okay, so when we get our color set in, which is the set of 4 colors, we go ahead and process it, and we have the more than 4 algorithm, and we have the other algorithm, which is 4 or less. If it's less than 4, I go ahead and offset it. Okay, but just once because we're going from ARGB just to RGB. Okay, which is this 3-channel setup. And if any of them are null, then hey, it's just left as black no alpha. All right, and then here's where I start up my rasters. And with these rasters, I learned about sample models. In this instance, I went with a banded sample model. And then I created a data buffer to go along with my sample model to create my raster. So I'm making a float raster or float color model with 4 channels, which is cool because you can actually make as many channels as you want. And I've already made a note somewhere else about that. I can't remember where. So here's where you declare the data buffer, and all this is a float array wrapper. So it's just a quick way of doing that. And there we go. We get our writable raster. The sample model shows where the important values are at. The data buffer float. It's just an array of floats, but that's there. And then null just to say that it starts at 0.00. So in JMonkey engine terms, I created a off-screen rendering surface or type thing. That was more ToneGod UI though. Okay, then we got our out raster. Just duplicate the same form as the in raster, so same sized like that. Let's see. Oh, yep. Just declared some values outside of this upcoming loop to get ready for it. So Here we go. We get ready for it. Initializations. Here we go. Get RGB components, and that's where I get my clear 2 color, and then we start going into and I put in just alpha 0 just in case, because it seemed like I was getting more than, in other words, I wasn't getting what the function said I was getting. I got more than that, and that's not what I wanted. All right. Yeah, because I was getting alpha 1 for some odd reason in this array. Okay, and here, because Java does not, when you shift to the right, it does not get rid of the negative sign bit. It doesn't count it as unsigned, so it retains the signed bit. So I have to do a lot of this stuff manually, and here's where I actually unset the signed bit. But yeah, it was a pain in the butt to find this, because I was like, why isn't it working? Oh, seriously? It retains the signed bit. Oh, I forgot about that. So here's where I had to go inline, and I couldn't just go with a statement like this because it just, nasty. But if anybody knows how to say this right, then I can discard these lines and I can say it like this. Well, correctly. All right. Yeah. Here's where I tried setting it to white. That looked nasty. But here's while I'm setting my in raster from my incoming image, I'm also clearing my out raster to the clear color. So yeah, if I need to color match something, it'll clear out to that color with 0 alpha, because then when it starts to fade in from alpha, then it's closer matched to the background that it's coming from, if that makes any sense. So after that's all initialized, I'm ready with my rasters to start processing. So here's my processing the rasters, and here's my multiplications. And this is probably wrong because my alpha channels ramp up too quickly. It seems. It's the problem with my alpha is either here, or if you'll notice, I have another one of these get RGB components called, which seems to set the alpha to 1 no matter what. I was writing this thing to be able to allow translucent colors in on the palette, but that does not look to be the case with this call. So I guess I need to make a note of that. This doesn't, or nullifies translucency. I tried it. It didn't work. So, all right. But this is where my big problem is. This statement right here nullifies any incoming translucency, if there's any set. And so after I do my in raster out raster, so in JME, it would have been so much easier to write this as like a filter? Yeah, but no, manual Java on the CPU. But because this is on the CPU, it's only done once. Well, I'll show that later. Okay, after we get through with our manual shader, we go with the derp convert and ship. Yes. So I get my buffered image ready, and it's going to be the standard ARGB type, and then I start converting my raster from its float array, okay, out to the various spots packed for the packed int, and then I just set the RGB to that, and the result is as you see. Okay. And of course here you can actually call this function without the clear color, and if so, it defaults to black no alpha. So until I figure out how to fix that one statement where it nullifies the incoming palette alpha, then okay. That pretty much wraps up the ARGB function. I'm going to be hitting on the getting the fonts and colors. Nehon Remy had already sent me over. Well, he didn't send it to me. He gave me a link and I got a hold of it. So I'm going to take a look at the fonts and colors and get those processed up next. So y'all have a good one. That's kind of how it works for the whole palletSwapARGB8, and it processes them in order as if they were separate passes, and each one's layered on top of the next. So, all right, y'all have a good one.